Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. Welcome to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class. This is from Canto 3, which is entitled Status Quo. Chapter 2, Remembrance of Lord Krishna. This morning we're doing text number 30. So without further ado, we'll start the class. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadhari Jashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Jashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadhari Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadhari Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadhari Yashodanandana Vajajana Yashodanandana Vajajana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari 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 Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhansa Parivājakacārya Stottara Satasisi Maharaj Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhansa Parivājakacārya Stottara Satasisi Maharaj Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Kuti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय, मथुरा धाम की जय, नवद्वीप धाम की जय, जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय, जगन्नाथ स्वामी की जय, गंगा मई की जय, जमुना मई की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय, सामवेद भक्तविंद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Glory to the Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishna Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Swami Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Sri Gauranga Bhakti Namini Narayana Namaskritya Narunche Vam Naruttamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayam Gudirayat Nashtra Praeswa Bhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamastoke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 2, Text number 30. Prayuktān bhoja-rājena māyinaḥ kāma-rūpiṇaḥ līlayā vyanudat tāṁs bālaḥ krīḍanakān iva. Prayuktān bhoja-rājena māyinaḥ kāma-rūpiṇaḥ līlayā vyanudat tāṁs bālaḥ krīḍanakān iva. Prayuktān bhoja-rājena māyinaḥ kāma-rūpiṇaḥ līlayā vyanudat tāṁs bālaḥ krīḍanakān iva. Hare Krishna. Krishna.
Prayuktān bhoja-rājena māyinaḥ kāma-rūpiṇaḥ līlayā vyanudattam stan bālaḥ krīḍanakān iva. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
प्रयुक्तान् भोजराजेन मायिनः कामरूपिणः लीलया व्यानुदत् तांस्तान् बालाः कृदानकान् इव. हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna. What else?
Prayuktān bhoja-rājena māyinaḥ kāma-rūpiṇaḥ līlayā vyanudat tāṁs bālaḥ krīḍanakān iva. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
prayuktān bhoja-rājena māyinaḥ kāma-rūpiṇaḥ līlayā vyanudat tāṁs bālaḥ krīḍanakān iva. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Okay. So we do word for word. Hare Krishna. Yep. Okay. Prayuktān, engaged. Bhoja-rājena, by King Kaṁsa. Māyinaḥ, great wizards. kāma-rūpiṇaḥ, who could assume any form they liked. Līlayā, in the course of the pastimes. Vyanudat, killed. Tān, them. Tān, as they came there. bālaḥ, the child. krīḍanakān, dolls. Eva, like that. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The great wizards who were able to assume any form were engaged by the King of Bhoja, Kaṁsa, to kill Kṛṣṇa. But in the course of his pastimes, the Lord killed them as easily as a child breaks dolls. Report by Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada Ki Jai. The atheist Kaṁsa wanted to kill Kṛṣṇa just after his birth. He failed to do so. But later on, he got information that Kṛṣṇa was living in Vrindavan at the house of Nanda Maharaj. He therefore engaged many wizards who could perform wonderful acts and assume any form they liked. All of them appeared before the child Lord in various forms like Aga, Baka, Putana, Shakata, Trinavat, Dhenuk, and Garvada. And they tried to kill the Lord at every opportunity. But one after another, all of them were killed by the Lord as if he were only playing with dolls. Children play with toy lions, elephants, boars, and many similar dolls, which are broken by the children in the course of their playing with them. Before the Almighty Lord, any powerful living being is just like a toy lion in the hands of a playing child. No one can excel God in any capacity, and therefore no one can be equal to or greater than him. Nor can anyone attain the stage of equality with God by any kind of endeavor. Gyan, Yoga, and Bhakti are three recognized processes of spiritual realization. The perfection of such processes can lead one to the desired goal of life and spiritual value. But that does not mean that one can attain a perfection equal to the Lord's by such endeavors. The Lord is the Lord at every stage. When he was playing just like a child in the lap of his mother, Yashoda, or just like a cowherd boy with his transcendental friends, he continues to remain God, without the slightest diminution of his six opulences. Thus, he is always unrivaled. Oma Gnati Mirandasya Gyana Gana Shalakaya Chakshu Umbilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rubhakadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Palaya Krishna Peshtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachayane Nirvishesha Sunivadi Paschatya Shatarini Namo Mahabharanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Gaurati Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So the English translation again. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 2, and Text 30. The great wizards who were able, let's start again. The great wizards who were able to assume any form were engaged by the King of Bhoja, Kaṁsa, to kill Kṛṣṇa. But in the course of his pastimes, the Lord killed them as easily as a child breaks dolls. Hare Krishna. So Shukadeva Goswami is talking about the Supreme Personality of Godhead as remembered by Uddhava. So going back a little bit, Uddhava and Vidura had met. Uddhava is going on, he is in, Vidura is going on pilgrimage, and he meets Uddhava. He asks about his own relatives, just basically asking Uddhava what he knows about what has happened to them, because he was going from one place to another, he, Vidura, and as he left the place, Hastinapur, he would have to find out what has happened in Hastinapur. He would be curious to know what's going on in Dwarka. He would be curious to know what the Lord is doing. Those things, typical of a person who is concerned about his material family, his spiritual family, and the family designated by the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. That is those who had moved from Mathura to Dwarka. Wanted to know. And when it came to his question about Kṛṣṇa, then Uddhava went on and on and on and on, as is expected of a person who is that close to Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa is the overwhelming favorite for all the pure devotees of the Lord. They think about Kṛṣṇa all of the time. And Kṛṣṇa also encourages us, Man mana bhava bhakto madhyajimam namaskuru, Bhagavad Gita chapter 18, text 65. Srila Prabhupada also urges us, do these 4 things. Always think of the Lord. Become the Lord's devotee. Offer obeisances to the Lord. Worship the Lord. He says, if you do these 4, you do it to your utmost, you will go back to Godhead. If you think about the Lord all of the time, you will think about the Lord at the time of death. And he already has said, anyone who thinks of me at the time of death comes to where I am. Golok Vrindavan. Become my devotee. A person that is devoted to the Lord is surrendered to the Lord. And the Lord is the most powerful. If you surrender and get on the, say, in American terms, you get on the right side of the most powerful person, and you don't have anything to worry about. Just remember that he is the most powerful and he's there to help you. And in Kṛṣṇa's case, we have given the special privilege of having the form of the Lord, called the Paramatma, the Super Soul, in our hearts. Individually, he's expanded himself to be in the hearts of all living entities. And those of us fortunate enough to have the kind of intelligence that's given to a human form, and we have a human form, we have to take advantage of it. Otherwise, if we don't get Kṛṣṇa conscious and stay Kṛṣṇa conscious and try to grow in Kṛṣṇa consciousness, then Maya will slowly bring us down to the animal level of thinking. There are people like that. Unfortunately, the majority of people in this world are like that. A good many of them don't even believe that there is God. But they look at nature and they know that nature cannot be produced by anyone. So the person who produced it, or the personality who produced it, has to have the highest abilities. You name any profession, engineer, he's the topmost engineer. Anything, he is the topmost. So if we surrender to that personality, it is the best. Vandabhumi surrendered to Kṛṣṇa through Lord Brahma. She went to Lord Brahma and told him about what the demons were doing on the earth. Vandabhumi, the earth. So Lord Brahma went to Lord Vishnu, and when he was going, the demigods followed him, other demigods. So it wasn't only Lord Mother Bhumi only, but others were there too, many of them. And when when Lord Brahma appealed to Lord Vishnu about the situation going on the earth, as Mother Bhumi had explained, then Lord Vishnu said, all you demigods, take birth within the Yadu dynasty. I myself will come. So Krishna's reason for coming, there are a number of reasons. One, the greatest one is to enthuse his devotees. The greatest external reasons is to enthuse his devotees, but also deal with the situation that Mother Bhumi had requested. There were plenty of demons. And as this translation talks about, Kaṁsa, the king of the Bhoja dynasty, he took over the Bhoja dynasty. And now he is king there. Very powerful. Many people can't deal with him because he can actually, if you fight him, he will defeat you. Not many people could deal with his strength. He's very, 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 very strong. And so the only one to deal with is just like anytime we are stuck in something that we need help with, then we just go to the Supreme Lord to get help. So Krishna takes birth, and now he's going to begin to get rid of the demons in his own special way. And so we'll spend some time now talking about some of the pastimes as Kṛṣṇa got rid of the demons. So, and those ones, of course, in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, they are described, beginning with Putana, how he killed her. But with your permission, we would like to look at these pastimes of how Kṛṣṇa killed his demons, this time from a Garga Samhita. And the only reason we bring Garga Samhita into this is because Garga Muni describes some extra things, just like in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj describes the Lord's pastimes. But then there is also Chaitanya Bhagavat that also describes the Lord's pastime, Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. And then there are some details that are in Chaitanya Bhagavat that are not in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So you read both and you get a fuller description of what happens. So for that reason, there are some things in Garga Samhita that's not in Srimad Bhagavatam about the same pastime of the Lord getting rid of the demons. So also, when Kṛṣṇa gets rid of the demons, kills the demons, he liberates them. They're able to go to for the most part, or the majority of the demons go to the Brahmajyoti. They merge with the effulgence, the brilliant spiritual effulgence coming from the body of Sri Kṛṣṇa. A few of them may go other places, like in the case of Jai and Vijay. At the end, when they came finally their fourth incarnation, or the fourth reincarnation, as Jagai and Madai, when they finally left the world, they went back to their positions. They got purified by the Lord mentally this time, not physically, mentally by Lord Chaitanya. But they went back. They went back to the Vaikuntha planets, to their position as the gatekeepers. So different demons go different places. So we look at the liberation, the killing and the leaving of a particular demon. So when we say liberation, then Krishna killed that demon and then liberated the demon. Liberation of Vatsasura, from Canto 2, Chapter 4 of Garga Samhita. Liberation of Vatsasura. So who was Vatsasura? Well, first, we'll describe what happened in Vrindavan, and then we'll just put Vatsasura right at where it's supposed to be. It has to do with Nanda and the fact that they take care of cows and calves. So Vatsasura came like that way. So the story goes like this. Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda had been told about the pastime involving Krishna. We've been told by Sananda. Sananda is a resident of Vrindavan. And he told a story that made Nanda very, very happy. So they prepared to go to the Vrindavan forest only because the story from Sananda was so much about the glories of the forests of Vrindavan. So they all decided to go. So Rohini, Yashoda, the gopis, horses, chariots, soldiers, even brahmanas, cows, carts, the adults there, children, and of course, when they are going from one place to another, it becomes like a festival. That's the way they do things. The pure devotees like to sing about Krishna and play their instruments and dance. So this was happening. So Krishna and Balaram, of course, were also part of it. They went. So they all went to the Vrindavan forest. This is when they moved from Gokul. Then Radharani also came, but not by herself. She came with her father, Vrishabhanu. So Vrishabhanu, his wife, is by his side. They also brought their cows and gopas. Vrishabhanu was riding on an elephant. And there were so many musicians also playing mridangas, talas, veenas, and flutes. So there was the procession movement to Vrindavan by Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda, Krishna and Balaram, and all of the residents in Gokul. Then Vrishabhanu also decided to come. So when they were settled, Vrishabhanu's area was actually quite close to where Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda were living. And that's why it was possible for every day for Radharani to be able to come to where Mother Yashoda was and even cook for Krishna. So this is how it ties into. They all went to the Vrindavan forest. And many others, Nandas, Upanandas, Vrishabhanus, they all went to the Vrindavan forest. Then they made homes. Now, Maharaj Vrishabhanu built a very beautiful city with many assembly houses, pavilions, lakes, royal roads, and 1,000 gardens. Everything was surrounded by a fortress with 7 gates and a moat for the protection of the whole place, which is about 4 yojanas. A yojana is 8 miles, so this is 32 miles around, protected. So Kṛṣṇa wandered in Nanda city and Vrishabhanu city, because Nanda also built a city. Now it's called city. We all think that's the first thing that we need to take out of our minds, including my own. We think that Vrindavan is forest, and you go and you see the trees and see the temple now the way it is in India. But there's a Vrindavan that is not seen by those who are going through the process of purification. It's seen by pure devotees. And that is the place that is being described here. So there were assembly houses, pavilions, lakes, royal roads, and the roads are decorated with gems, beautiful glittering gems, and 1,000 gardens. Maharaj Vrishabhanu built like that, and Nanda Maharaj also built like that. So the gopis, the gopals, the older gopis, and the older gopals, and Maharaj Nanda himself, and Mother Yashoda, they live very, very, very opulently in terms of what is supplied. The way the areas where they live is very, very beautiful. You can't even imagine it. And so Krishna, of course, this is playing in the forest, and he's given the care of the cows with the other Gopa boys, the cowherd boys. They're protecting the cows in Vrindavan. So they played in all kinds of ways in the forest, and it's even many details are given here. So we kind of talking about the shorter version of it. Otherwise, we'll go through even the games are described in detail, the kind of games they were playing. But then Kṛṣṇa spotted one thing. There was a demon called Vatsasura. And we said, who is Vatsasura? Well, Vatsasura entered among the cows. He's from Kaṁsa. He entered among the cows. Therefore, Vatsasura assumed the form of a cow. Baby cow. And he entered them among the cows. So his plan was to join the cows that were being protected by Kṛṣṇa and Balaram, and then through that get to Kṛṣṇa and try to kill him. So Kṛṣṇa also spotted that. And so he also went behind Vatsasura and stealthily, without Vatsasura noticing what was going on, approached Vatsasura. Then, now, Vatsasura spotted him when he got close, when Kṛṣṇa got close. So then, with his hind legs, the demon struck Kṛṣṇa on the shoulder. And then it surprised the boys because they thought, it's all our calves, we're taking care of them. All of a sudden, a calf is attacking Kṛṣṇa. But immediately they put two and two together and they realized that has to be a demon. So their first reaction to that is they all split. They fled. But Kṛṣṇa grabbed the demon's two legs and whirled him about and threw him to the ground. And then he picked him up again. And with both hands, Kṛṣṇa threw him the demon into a kapita tree. And when the demon hit the tree, the demon's life just went right out of him. He died. But there was even more. The force was so much that kapita tree broke and fell on other kapita trees, and they all fell. So the boys were astonished. They turned around and they looked at Kṛṣṇa and said, well done, well done. The demigods saw it too. So they showered flowers and shouted, Jai, Jai, victory, victory, victory. Then from the demon, a great light came and entered Lord Kṛṣṇa. So this is when that happens, that means that demon has been liberated. And he would join the Lord in his Lord's effulgence. Now, this story is being told by Narada Muni. And then there's a great and very pious Rajarishi king called Sri Bahulashva. So he's the one listening. Bahulashva is listening, and Narada Muni is the one talking about the story in Garga Samhita. So then the king asked Narada Muni, O sage, so what pious deeds did Vatsasura do in his previous life so that now he is able to enter Lord Kṛṣṇa, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, the greatest of all who are great? So now we're going to talk about the previous life of Vatsasura. That's one thing about Garga Samhita. Usually when he talks about the demons and talks about the pastime, then Bahulashva will ask so that we get to find out what the previous life, the last life before that personality became a demon, what was he like and what did he do? So Narada Muni is answering the question. Vatsasura's previous life, he was also a demon. He was called Pramila. His father was called Muru. He conquered the demigods. And after he did that, he entered the Muni called Vasishtha. The Muni called Vasishtha's ashram. Now, Vasishtha has a very special cow called Nandini. When this demon, Pramila, saw the cow, he wanted the cow for himself. But the cow was not just an ordinary cow. It was a very special cow. He had many, many, many abilities. So, Vasishtha himself he stood silent. He has divine vision. The cow also does. But it's the cow that spoke to this demon. So, Sri Nandini said, you are a demon, Muru's son. And you've assumed the form of a Brahmana because he came looking like a Brahmana. I'm sorry, I should have told that when he desired a cow, he transformed himself into a brahmana, and he begged for the cow. So I apologize for not talking about that detail. When he saw the cow with Vasishta's ashram, then he decided, I want the cow. So then he transformed himself to a brahmana, and he begged for the cow. But then the cow could see what had happened. That's why the cow said, Nandini said, you're a demon. You're Muru's son. You've assumed the form of a Brahman just to steal the sage's cow. And that is me. So therefore, O you wicked-hearted one, you should become a cow. Because you were trying to steal a cow. So the cow cursed him to become a cow. So the great demon, Pramila, he at once became a cow. But then, this will happen quite a few times in other pastimes. When he became a cow, he circumambulated Vasishta and the cow, and he bowed down, and he said, please save me. The demon had regretted. So then the cow again said, oh great demon, at the end of Dwapara Yuga, when Kṛṣṇa begins to exhibit his pastimes, you will go among many cows, and then you will attain liberation. So this is what happened in the case of Vatsasura. We'll tell one more. Bakasura. Bakasura came as a duck. Remember in the past, what we read today, it said that the demons can change themselves into different ways, in different forms. This particular demon, Bakasura, came as a duck. And Kṛṣṇa was herding the cows in the company of Balaram and the cowherd boys. And Kṛṣṇa saw this great duck demon at the shore of the Jamuna. So he was as big as a mountain, and his feet were gigantic, and it was quacking. The quacking resembled the rumbling of clouds, and his beak was as strong as a thunderbolt. And when the demon saw Kṛṣṇa, he came up to Kṛṣṇa and swallowed Kṛṣṇa. And the boys, the cowherd boys, they fled. And then they went to a certain distance, and then they started crying as if they've lost their lives. The demigods came and also cried, alas, alas, alas. The demon had swallowed Kṛṣṇa. So they thought that was the end of Kṛṣṇa. So then the demigods decided to fight and try to kill the demon themselves in order to rescue Kṛṣṇa. Indra started. He hit the demon with his powerful thunderbolt. That blow caused the demon to fall, but he did not die. The demon stood up. Then Brahma's turn. Brahma became angry. He had a danda, who was also very powerful. He struck the demon, the duck, with that danda. And the demon fell unconscious for about 48 minutes, or 2 gatikas. 1 gatika is 24 minutes, so 2 gatikas is 48 minutes. But the powerful demon did not die. He shook his body, yawned, and stood up and roared like a crowd. Then Lord Shiva, he took up the next situation. His trident, that has killed so many with his trident, he hit the demon with it, and one wing got cut off of the duck. But the fearful demon did not die. Vayu came. He's a wind. We had a wind weapon. Vayu is the one controlling of the wind. And the duck just flew away. But then he came back. Then Yamaraj got him. He hit the demon with his danda. It's a very powerful blow. But again, the duck did not die. Then Surya approached. Surya struck the demon with 100 sharp arrows. But the demon still survived it. Kuvera attacked him. The second wing of the duck was also cut off. Still, now both wings are cut off. But the great demon did not die. Soma got in. and brought an ice weapon. But again, they couldn't defeat the demon. In the meantime, remember, Kṛṣṇa has been swallowed by the demon. So the demigods are getting at the demon, trying to kill him, because they figured they could actually rescue Kṛṣṇa that way, whatever situation he was in. They didn't know. Agni came with his fire weapon. And the feathers were burned to ashes. But the wicked demon did not die. Varuna bound him with rope. Still, he wasn't hurt. I mean, he wasn't killed. He was hurt. Bhadrakali struck him with a mace, and the demon got into a deep coma. And again, he came out of the coma. His head was broken. The duck shook his body and roared again. Kartikeya threw his Shakti weapon at him. So that many demigods tried to kill this one demon. But he still survived them all. Then he came after the demigods, and the demigods all started running away in different directions. So what happened finally is that the Devarshis, the Brahmarishis, and the Brahmanas, they offered blessings to Kṛṣṇa, Nanda Maharaj's son. And when that happened, so all the physical things didn't work on the demon. Then finally, from inside the duck, Kṛṣṇa expanded his glorious form and broke the throat of the demon, the duck demon. And the great duck at once put out Kṛṣṇa. It says it vomited Kṛṣṇa out. So then he didn't end there. He tried to catch Kṛṣṇa, but Kṛṣṇa grasped the duck's tail and threw him to the ground. The duck stood up and again opened his beak, but then Kṛṣṇa grabbed his beak and split the duck's beak, just like an elephant breaks a tree branch. Then the demon died. Again, a light left the demon's body and entered Kṛṣṇa. And the demigods showered flowers and shouted, "Die, die, die, die." And the Gopas were very, very happy. So when they went back to Nanda's palace, they went there first. Usually that's what happens when they go back. They all go to Nanda's place and be with Kṛṣṇa for a while before they go to their own houses. So when they went there to Nanda's palace, then they informed everybody what had happened, and everybody was surprised at how Bakasura got killed. So then Bhavalāśa asked Narada Muni, what's the previous life of this demon? Why did he become a duck? Then Narada said, he was a demon called Utkala. And Hayagriva's son was that particular demon. He defeated many demigods. And now on the earth, he was ruling because he took the kingdoms of many, many human kings. For 100 years, this powerful demon ruled the kingdom full of all opulence. Then one day, this demon came near a Muni called Jajali. It was at the place where the Ganga River meets the ocean. So he went to that area and he cast a fish hook into the water and caught a fish. But the Muni told him, you cannot do that here. So he forbid this demon from taking the fish. But the demon, as you know, you expected, this shouldn't surprise you, the demon obviously disobeyed the Muni. So then the Muni got upset with the demon and cursed him. "O demon, you eat fish like a duck, therefore you should become a duck." And in that moment, the demon became a duck, and he lost his powers and his pride and his arrogance. So he began to, he put his head at the feet of the sage and begged, and the sage said, "All right." So many things that this duck demon now was telling the sage, please, and he quoted some things from the Shastra. The demons know the Shastra too, by the way. He says, but association with great saints like yourself is a great door to liberation. As we know it said, Sadhu Sangha, Sahava Shastra Hoy, Lavamata Sadhu Sangha. So then this demon was now in a duck form is saying, well, you are a great saint and my association with you should give me liberation. This is the way it's written. So Janjali got impressed that the demon was begging in that way and he didn't go into the Shastra. So then Jajali said, in the Vaishbhata Manvantara, that time the Vaishbhata Manu, in the 28th Yuga cycle, at the end of Dwapar Yuga, in Bhad Bhasha and in Mathura, Kṛṣṇa, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, will be born, and he would herd many cows in the Vrindavan forest. Then you will enter to Lord Kṛṣṇa. There is no doubt. He says, even by hating him, many demons such as Hiranyaksha have already attained the Supreme. So you also go like that. Now, this is how his situation, Bakasura, became a duck. We'll tell one more, and I'm looking at the time, but we'll try to squeeze in just 5 minutes of one. Dhenukasura, the donkey demon, is a cowherd voice actually herding the cows with Kṛṣṇa and Balaram. They could smell in the Taliban forest the wonderful aroma of the fruits that were there. So they were, telling Kṛṣṇa and Balaram, please let's go to the forest. But everybody knew in the area that there was a demon called Dhenukasura, and he had other demon friends. They were all donkeys, and they were very, very vicious. You enter there, you lose your life. So the cowherd boys were telling Balaram, but let's go have some of the fruits. They knew that Kṛṣṇa and Balaram were that strong that no demons could withstand them. So Kṛṣṇa and Balaram agreed. But then the cowherd boys were very fearful. So when they got to the edge of the forest, they didn't go into that Taliban forest. They did not. Not even Kṛṣṇa. Only Balaram went in first time. And then Balaram was in the forest roaring very fearlessly because he's Lord Ananta. And his strength has no limit. So he began to shake the tala trees and many fruits fell. And that sound woke up this donkey demon who was taking a nap. And he woke up and became very, very, very angry. So he came up to try to fight. And he turned around when he saw Balaram. So he hit him with his hind the back hooves and kicked Balaram in his chest. And made the sound that donkeys use, the neighing sound. He made that sound. But Balaram came after the demon and caught him in the hind legs and playfully threw him into one of the trees. So when the demon hit the trees, that tree fell and caused other trees nearby to also fall. And it was very surprising how this whole thing went down like dominoes. Then Balaram grabbed Dhenukasura, whirled him around, and threw him for 8 miles. And when the demon fell down, his head became badly wounded, and then he became unconscious. But after a short while, he woke up. And then he changed himself into still the same form, but not with 2 horns anymore. This time he had 4 horns. He manifested 4 more horns. So he became even more terrifying, and the gopas began to flee. The demon then chased them, and that annoyed the cowherd boys. So Sridham turned around and hit Dhenuk with a stick, and Subal just hit him with his fist. And Stoka Kṛṣṇa tried to bind the demon with a rope. And Arjuna, I'm sure, they threw the demon far away. So that tells you the cowherd boys were also strong. Most of the time we only hear about the songs they sing and they with Kṛṣṇa, but they have some powers themselves too. Vishala and Vrishabha, they kicked the demon, and Tejasvi tried to strangle the demon, and Devaprasta slapped him. All of these are cowherd boys. So they really got a Dhenukasura. But of course, the demon shook off his form and again got up and manifested his original form. And now he grabbed Kṛṣṇa and carried him into the sky. So Kṛṣṇa and Dhenukāsura were fighting 800,000 miles in the sky. They fought. And Dhenukāsura, finally, Kṛṣṇa grabbed him and threw him back to the earth. Now, for that distance, of course, Dhenukāsura's bones were broken and he fell unconscious. But then still, he regained consciousness and then made a terrible sound. And then he took Govardhan Hill. He uprooted Govardhan Hill and threw Govardhan Hill at Kṛṣṇa. Govardhan is a mountain. But Kṛṣṇa caught Govardhan Hill and aimed at Dhenuka's head and threw Govardhan Hill towards the demon. But the demon caught the hill and threw it back at Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa caught Govardhan Hill, and this time he says, I'm not going to continue this. So then he threw Govardhan Hill back to his former place. Then Balaram got in and grabbed the demon by his horns, kicked him, and threw him to the ground. The earth shook with that big weight that Balaram threw him. And then he punched him. Balaram punched the demon with his fist, and then the demon died. Now, what happened was, this is why we said earlier, different demons go different places. Dhenukāsura, after leaving his body, manifested a very splendid and handsome dark form, wearing yellow garments, just like Kṛṣṇa, and decorated with a forest flower garland. Then a chariot filled with 100,000 of the Lord's associates, Kṛṣṇa's associates, decorated with 1,000 flags, and it had 1,000 wheels, being pulled by 10,000 horses. It had 100,000 chamaras and many jewels. It was 8 miles long, with so many of the Lord's associates in them, who were dancing, who were singing, and that thing was traveling as fast as a mind. And then he decorated, and then it came. It suddenly appeared. This wonderful structure came. And Dhenukāsura looked very nice. He's no longer a demon. He's decorated very nicely. And he stepped onto that chariot, and he was taken back. He was taken back, but he was taken back to Goloka. Like Goloka Vrindavan in the spiritual world. Dhenukāsura returned there. So different demons go different places. A good many of them go into they merge with the effulgence of the Lord, the Brahmajyoti. But some demons go back to Vaikuntha, like Jai and Vijay. Finally, as Jaga and Madai, after that, they went back to their place in Vaikuntha. Dhenukāsura obviously has some connection with Goloka Vrindavan. So he went back to Goloka Vrindavan. Now, for us, in a couple of minutes, Kṛṣṇa, in conclusion, we know he kills demons like playthings. So what should we do? It's best to surrender and to trust and develop deep love for Kṛṣṇa. It is to our advantage to do that. Now, we may not call ourselves demonic, but we also have, we're working on purifying ourselves. So we have a lower nature. When we trust Kṛṣṇa, then our lower nature gets dealt with. Just like, again, in the Narada, this is also from Narada Bhakti Sutta this time. So Kṛṣṇa is explaining, and Narada is putting these suttas there. One achieves bhakti by hearing and chanting about the Supreme Lord's special qualities, even while engaged in ordinary activities of life in this world. So why this particular sutra? This is sutra number 37 in Narada Bhakti Sutta. Even while we're doing our ordinary activities, material activities, we should still hear and chant about the Supreme Lord's special qualities. Make it a point to hear about the Lord. If we're busy at work, and and your minds are regular mind, not the subconscious, but the regular mind is focused on the work that we're doing. Engage the subconscious in thinking about the Lord. How do you do that? Make sure that wherever you're working, there's either a pastime of the Lord being talked about or preaching by Srila Prabhupada or Srila Prabhupada's disciples or grand disciples that you're hearing if you can. And if you need your attention fully on what you're doing, then you can have pictures of the Lord around you. Pictures of a spiritual master, pictures of Srila Prabhupada, pictures of the different pastimes of the Lord around you, because then the eyes pick up. Just like when we're driving in the highway and we see a billboard, it doesn't seem important to us, but the billboard has a big signs on it advertising something. We think that it's not necessary because our regular mind does not care about it so much, but our subconscious picks it up. Next time when you go to a grocery store, if that thing or whatever that place is sold, whatever the place is that item that was on the billboard is sold, when you go there and you want something, that particular thing, but there are different brands, the one that you saw on the billboard is most likely the one that you'll pick up, because the billboards have that kind of effect on the subconscious. That's why billboards are there. So in the same way, if you're too busy to actually hear a lecture, then do the same thing like the billboards do. Have the pictures of some things that remind you so your other senses can connect with it, especially the eyes, can see pictures, and then you remember the Supreme Lord that way. While your subconscious does that kind of work for you. That way we think about Krishna all of the time. The more we think about the Lord, the better we become as devotees. Hare Krishna. So there's so many pastimes in Garga Samhita, of course, and some in the Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto. The whole Garga Samhita is 17 books of pastimes of the Lord, so we can never finish talking about it. Hare Krishna. So anyway, Krishna kills demons easily, so we rely on Krishna. There's nothing that he cannot do. Just keep serving Krishna and make Krishna happy by serving him, serving Guru, and serving the devotees, being selfless towards the service of devotees especially. Very selfless. Be ready to assist every time you see that opportunity has come to serve a devotee. Do that. And Krishna will be happy with us if we do like that, and then our lives will be much better because he will purify us, and then Krishna consciousness will be a very, very blissful type of lifestyle, even among things that happen in this material world. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve like this, and this is the time to unmute yourself, dear devotees. And you have any questions? You have any comments that you want to make? Then you can do that. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments? Okay. So if there are no questions or comments, we will stop here.
I do want to say one comment. I'm sorry, please accept my humble obeisance for Grace of Prabhupada. That if this was not a Bhagavatam class, I think it's so nice to hear these pastimes that I kind of lost track of time. So that's my comment.
Well, yeah, I know it came, and I said clearly it came from Garga Samhita, and this is a Bhagavatam class. But the reason I took it from there is because all of those pastimes that we talked about are in the Bhagavatam also. They are in the Bhagavatam. Just the details, there are more details in Garga Samhita, and that's why we brought it up. Hare Krishna. And Krishna's pastimes, all the books are spiritual, all the books are, when they talk about Krishna, you can never talk about Krishna, finish talking about Krishna. You can never finish talking about Krishna. It's more and more and more and more enjoyable. All right. Any other questions or comments? If not, then again, have a wonderful, we have this weekend coming up. Also this weekend, we're going to start the Jilan Yatra. So please come to the temple at the regular time. And those who are not in Harrisburg, make sure you go to your temple. I'm sure Julanyata will start then too. In your the temple that's nearest to you. Hare Krishna. Panchakalpatarubhishcha kripa sundibhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Chirahopar ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you again.